Welcome to MMA Labology, brought to you by us, the MadLabMMA.com. If you guys are interested in wagers, DFS, just if you're into the fight game, you want to read some content, you want to learn about the fight game, go to MadLabMMA.com. We got everything you need. We have full fight breakdowns, fighter metrics, full DFS, hedge weights, projections, everything you private podcast, private Discord, anything you live stream, anything you need to break down a fight, we have. So come check us out, the MadLabMMA.com, and give us a ride. Also, please like, subscribe, and comment below. We tend to get a lot of views. We've been getting a lot more views lately, but for some reason, some people aren't pulling the subscription trigger. So do that for us, please. We would really appreciate that. Obviously, you can see I don't have my partner with me. He's taking full advantage. Bro. Yo.
Never coming back to work.
Dude. He owes me like a trip to Italy or something.
Yeah.
Right? So Anthony was really, really sick 2 weeks ago. As you guys know, we talked about it on the last episode. He had meningitis. He's doing much better now. Within 3 days of him getting better, he is now in Cabo with his family. Enjoying the fruits of his labor. He deserves it, though. The kid's been working like a dog. I do miss him, but he definitely deserves the vacation. Father's Day was this weekend. I hope everybody had a fantastic Father's Day. For all the real dads out there, Quan, how was your weekend?
No, that's a horrible segue.
No, well, come on.
Because if there was a kid out there that had my seed,
they might be.
He's young. Listen, I'm gonna give him a little adversity. Gonna be absent like my father was, and he'll become great. He'll have this chip on his shoulder.
That's it.
And it'll feel this deep hatred for me. And he's going to be a legend. I'll show up at year 18 when he's going to the NFL, NBA, something like that. And that's how the story will go.
You look like you're drinking booze right now.
Listen, man. Hey, hold on. I got to hop in here. Liquid Death.
Yo, he loves...
This is the greatest water I've ever tasted in my life. I opened it up for the first time, and it was like...
They don't even sponsor us, by the way.
No,
so that's no sponsor at all.
Free,
I've never had it
marketing.
before.
Listen, it's like it would if you could get like what pussy tastes like in a can.
I'm gonna buy a fucking 12-pack tonight.
That's Liquid Death.
Well, I gotta try it. I've never had it. He's been raving about it since he's gotten here. My weekend was good, believe it or not. I didn't get to see my dad. I didn't get to see my stepdad or my brother or my family because obviously I'm on the West Coast or on the East Coast. But I did get to spend it with a very two dear friends of mine from grammar school, actually. They came in with their children from Texas, and they were staying right in Huntington Beach, so I got together with them, which was really, really cool. It was a really good weekend. So we had a good weekend. As far as the fights... we're going to do a little review on the fights. We are going to do predictions on the main card. A couple things I do want to touch on before we jump into that. I do want to touch on Thrive Fantasy is one of our sponsors. They've been doing great work over there. The platform is fun to play. Very easy. It's just very user-friendly. We've been killing it over there. I'm not sure. I think I went 2 or 3 again this week with my plays. We do every play on the site. So if you guys are looking for Thrive plays, every play is on my site. I go from top to bottom, over, under, over, under. Really good platform. So definitely go check that out. Use our promo code. I think it's MadLab, right? Our promo code. Yeah, use promo code MadLab. Another thing is we have an arm wrestling thing coming up, dude. That I'm not into arm wrestling. I've never been into arm wrestling. I'm intrigued by it. Sometimes I'll see it on YouTube and stuff. But apparently, dude, they have the 2 best arm wrestlers on the planet going at it on Saturday. Devon Larrett, who's a legend, if anybody knows who Devon Larrett is, versus this guy Levan Saginashvili. Bro, the guy's a Georgian fighter. He's from the country of Georgia. He's like 400-something pounds. Where he's got they did the measurements on him. He's got like 25.5-inch arms. He's got 19-inch forearms. He's got a 14.5-inch fist. Do you know how fucking big that is, dude? Do you know how fucking big that is? And he's never lost a round. Arm wrestling goes by rounds. So it's like best of 3, best of 5, whatever it is. He's never lost a round. So this guy, Devon Larrett, who's considered a legend, he's like 48 now.
Yeah.
He's coming to try to take the throne. It's like Lincoln Hawk versus Bill Hurley, dude. Like, he's big. Devon Larrett's like 6'5", but he's thinner. He's got big arms. But this dude's just like a fucking truck, dude. So he's going to be interesting. He's got 140 pounds? He's got 150 pounds on Devon Larrett.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
He's
And
gonna get smoked.
here's the thing with that now. I did a lot of detailed
did a deep
research.
dive.
I did a huge
Let's hear
deep
it.
dive. And the thing with this fight is this. It's the best of 6. So they're going at it 6 times.
Yeah.
Devon Larrett is known for his conditioning.
Okay.
Okay, so the way I'm looking at this I'm still trying to find a line on this, because if I do, I'm going to give it to some of my subscribers. I don't know which way I'm going yet, but depending on which way the line is. But here's the way I look at it. The guy, Levan Saginashvili, is obviously the stronger guy. So in one match, 2 matches, he's going to smoke him. But arm wrestling is very technical. Like, I was really, really watching it over the weekend, and I've never watched it like this before. I watched about 3 hours of it, 4 hours of it, and it's all they call it pulling.
Yeah.
So like, let's get a pull in. So the way they do it, bro, is like they would arm wrestle, and they're like actually pulling. And what they're trying to do when they're doing it is they're trying to unflexate your arm, dude, to make the muscle belly long. So once the muscle belly's long, you ain't got that fucking leverage anymore. When it's balled up like this, you have the crank. So the whole thing is like pull the arm back, sit down on the arm. You're allowed to use anything under the table you can use. And Devon Larrett is apparently like the master at technique. Like he knows how to climb. Like you'll see him down like this, and you'll see him go. He like understands the climb, and his conditioning's amazing. So when you look at that, you say to yourself, all right, this is best of 6. They're using the strap, you know, and you got to say to yourself, all right, well, is it going to be like 2-0 for the big guy, and then all of a sudden the conditioning is going to start fading, and the technical guy is going to come? I'm like super intrigued by this, dude. It's like pay-per-view too, and
Where are you at as of this moment? What are you leaning?
I'm leaning slightly on the younger kid, the bigger guy right now, slightly. But if there's I don't know, dude.
Would you take Lariat as a dog?
If he was he's 100% a dog.
Yeah.
Some people are saying it's impossible that he's going to win this. But if he's like a plus 400 or plus 300, I'm 1,000% taking a shot on him if I can find the line.
Yeah.
All right, so before we jump into the review, we had a boxing match too this weekend. We had Joey Smith Jr. versus Better Biev. You saw that fight.
Yeah.
So this dude is just a knockout machine, and he doesn't even really understand boxing yet. That's the crazy thing. This kid does not understand boxing yet. And he fought Joe Smith Jr., who's a little bit more technical of a boxer, comes from very humble beginnings from Long Island, and he just didn't go to the game plan. I mean, he literally tried to stand and bang with a guy who has freakish power, and he knocked him down 4 times?
I think 3.
3 times?
It might have been 4.
And then they stopped the fight. So that was a little upsetting to see, because I really thought we would have had a better. I thought he would have had a better showing in there. I thought he would be able to like box him up a little bit. The card in review, that I got to say, the UFC Kattar versus Emmett card was probably one of the best cards I've seen in a long time. I don't know what the fuck is in the water over there in Austin, but keep bringing fights to Austin. Did you watch any of those fights?
No, I don't think I did.
Dude, the finishing rate was out the fucking door. I mean, I'd never seen this many, like, it's just finish after finish after first rounds, finish after finish after finish, to the point where the crowd was getting so spoiled that if a fight went to the cards, it was almost like they were booing.
Yeah.
You know? So we ended up, I think, plus 1/2 unit. We didn't have we didn't lose money. We didn't really win a lot of money, but it was a 4.5 unit swing if Kattar would have got the decision. So we would have been up like 5 units if Kattar would have got the decision. We had some really good bets. We have Ismagulov minus 170, Ismagulov by decision. Both of those hit. We had a parlay with Yanez and Kattar that didn't hit. We had a parlay with Yanez and Ramos that did hit. We had a suicide parlay for like plus 800. It was Hawes, Holland, Yanez, Kattar, Stamen, Ramos, and Daukas. 2 guys on that leg didn't hit. So we were on the, we had some really good bets in, but Kattar and Daukas kind of screwed us over. my thoughts on the card was, you know, the Adrian Yanez thing I want to touch on a little bit, you know, against Tony Kelly. You know, so many people come out and they talk about boxing, how boxing, you know, not that it doesn't have a place in the UFC, but it's really not that hard, and, you know, it's striking, and you got to have good wrestling, and you got to have good this. Listen, it's called MMA for a reason. It's called mixed martial arts. But if you really, really go through the nuts and bolts of what these people say about striking, it's as false as it gets. Because if you look at majority of the champions today in the UFC, they are strikers. And I have proof of that right here, which I'm going to pull up in a second. Okay, so if you look at the heavyweight champ, Francis, striker. Yeri, light heavyweight champ, striker. Middleweight, Izzy Adesanya, striker. Welterweight, Usman. He is a wrestler, but he has been winning his fights as a striker. Featherweight, Volkanovski, striker wrestler. Bantamweight, Aljo. Okay, he's predominantly a grappler. Flyweight, Figgy, he's a grappler, but he wins on striking. Women's featherweight, Nunes. She's a grappler, but she's a striker first. Women's bantamweight, Pena, grappler. Women's flyweight, women's strawweight, Esparza, wrestler. Women's flyweight, you have Shevchenko, striker. All your champions are fucking strikers. All your champions in the UFC are fucking strikers. They come from a predominantly striking background, or they had a grappling and wrestling base, and they tend to go to the striking. Even guys, you know, like Gilbert Burns. I mean, all in all, a fucking grappler. You know, great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but they come to striking. But there's a difference between striking and there's a difference between the art of boxing. And if you know the art of boxing, like Adrian Yanez uses the art of boxing, you have no idea how much of a leg up you have on the competition, because the hardest thing to fucking learn is the technical science of boxing. Period, end. I don't care what anybody says. You can make mistakes in wrestling. You can make mistakes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you could collect yourself in a transition. I know, I've been there. I've also buried majority of my life in boxing, and I know how hard boxing is, and I know how hard boxing is to understand, and what it is to bait a trap and create an angle and slip off the center line and understand the mechanics of the body when you're slipping to the body, when you come and you're slipping underneath just to bring their head down and you could come up to the top, how to parry your jab, how to bait them into something that you don't want, that you just reading their body mechanics, reading their movement, reading which way they like to go, reading which hand they're dominant on. And you're reading all these things when you're boxing, and you're using your head movement and stuff like that, and your footwork to bait them into a situation that you're kind of translating in your mind. If I go this way, he's going to go this way, or I'm going to force him this way. People have no idea how hard it is to box. And it's crazy, because when I hear stuff like that, like always, you know, the wrestler and the grappler, and when you get somebody like an Adrian Yanez, who is such a polished boxer, and let me tell you something, is he a good boxer? He's a very good boxer for MMA, but if you put him in the ring against some of these high pedigree boxers, I don't care that, you know, he's a Golden Gloves and stuff like that. Golden Gloves is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean because he's a Golden Gloves champion, he's going to be up in the elite. When you get some of these elite boxers out there that will run circles around him, you know, you have no idea, like, the skill set that's involved, the timing that's involved, the range finding that's involved in boxing. So that's why I love him so much. So when people say, oh, you know, MadLab, you got a hard on for Adrian Yanez, yes, because I love the fucking art of boxing. I love the art of boxing. I love everything about it. I understand how hard it is. I understand what it takes. And these guys are very quick thinkers on the feet, and I like that, because there is no time to stall when you're boxing. You can stall on the ground. You could figure out, what's my next chess move? I'm going to be on top of you, and I got to get side control. Now I got side control. Now I got to figure out which way I'm going to go. I'm going to try to bait you a certain way. Yeah, there's baiting involved in wrestling and grappling too. Same thing with grappling. You could put yourself in a bad position, but you can have a minute to think about it. Where in boxing, you don't have that minute. You got to work everything right on the fly. You got to make adjustments on the fly. You got to do all that stuff on the fly. So, you know, people who say that, I almost want to block them on social media, because it just shows how uneducated they are. Another fight that was, I don't know why so many people were on him, Julian Marquez. Rodriguez was the better fighter everywhere. The only path that Julian Marquez had in that fight was to out-endurance him and use his durability. And obviously, that durability had started to show a chink in his armor because he got knocked out in the first round by Rodriguez. So that was a fight that I honestly had. I did not think Marquez had a chance technical, from a technical standpoint. But from a cardio standpoint, conditioning standpoint, I've seen Rodriguez rocked. I've seen him tired. So I saw a situation there where maybe Marquez can do it. But I had Greg Rodriguez all day in that fight. I didn't think there was no way Marquez was going to beat him outside of those two things. We hit Buckley. We got Buckley right against Arayev. I just thought that was a fight that he could win. And I said that as an athlete, when you were an athlete, and as explosive as him, yes, you got a lot of muscle bellies that need to fill up with oxygen. You will get tired a little quicker. But when you are that explosive, you have the ability to sprawl. You have the ability to really get out of the way with shots just by using your athletic prowess. You know that, Quan. When you're a super fast twitch guy and you're explosive, even if you don't have wrestling behind you, you can kind of get out of the way. You can kind of explode out. And that's what Buckley did. And Buckley won the fight. I didn't expect him to win that decisively, but I did expect him to win. Kevin Holland, the guy's a fucking superstar. The guy's a straight up fucking superstar stud. His wrestling looked a lot better, even though Tim Means doesn't have a great wrestling. There's just something about Kevin Holland. He's got that superstar persona about him. I'm very curious to see what he does next. I know he called out Sean Brady. I think that was a bad call out for him, but that's Kevin Holland. I do think that's a bad stylistic matchup from Ismagulov. We were right there. We had him by decision and straight bet as the win. I just couldn't pick Kudrladze there. Too much of a layoff. You don't know what you're getting, from him. He hasn't fought since 2 years ago. You can't just pick blind like that. Court McGee. I was wrong on that fight. I really thought Court McGee would be able to weather storm at Wells. Wells showed that he does have insane power. Court McGee, uses his durability, almost like a Julian Marquez, but not in that fight. He got clipped. He got caught. He went out cold. And all props to Wells. Ricardo Ramos looked great. Eddie Wineland, we knew that was going that way. Phil Hawes, this is a fight where I had no idea how people were picking Deron winning this fight. It just didn't make any sense to me. This was probably the lock of all locks. Deron Wynn, good wrestler. I think people are taking a little bit too much stock in that he is, the protege of Daniel Cormier. But you got to understand, when you have a guy where he's that small in stature, he's never going to have the reach, he's never going to have the range, but he's an Olympic-style wrestler. People lean on that a little bit too much, but they fail to remember that Phil Hawes is also a great wrestler from Penn State. He's longer, he's more explosive, he's a better athlete, he's got better striking. Like, there was no reason to pick Deron Wynn here, even on a flyer. So I couldn't do that. So I obviously picked Phil Hawes. I was wrong on Daukaus. I thought that he would be a little bit tighter in his approach. He was a little bit sloppy. Dolidze capitalized and won, so good on him. Overall, the card was fantastic. The only fight that, kind of threw me for a loop a little bit was Calvin Kattar and Emmett. And even though it was a good fight, I personally had it scored for Kattar. But here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to play that game with everybody about the judging. These fucking people with the judges. I'm so sick and tired of seeing some of these people talking about judging and talking about fucking robot judging and talking about this. The fact of the matter is this. The fight was a close fight. Do I think Kattar could have done more? Yes. Why didn't he do more? I think Kattar feared the power of Emmett, and I think that he was playing the jab game a little bit too much, and that's fine. For somebody like me who loves the striking game and who understands it and who reads it, I'm looking at that he's controlling range, he's controlling distance, he's dictating the terms of the fight with his jab. He's keeping him at bay. And if you look, the damage showed prevalently on Emmett's face. The guy's eye was completely shut. His face was all banged up in the win. He actually looked more banged up than Kattar did at the end of the fight. But they're looking for significant damage. And when you look at significant damage in that fight, who landed the significant damage? It was Josh Emmett. Okay, so I'm not arguing there. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that this was a robbery. So those of you that picked Josh Emmett, congrats. Good pick. I'm going to give you credit. Could have went either way. I honestly, personally thought that Kattar was going to be able to pull away with it a little quicker. I didn't think it was going to be that much of a show. The problem I do have with this is not the decision, because I accept the decision, and I'll accept the loss on that. Unlike a lot of people, where they either just go quiet, or they go on to the next sport, or they go on to something else to talk about. Like, I'll accept the loss that I picked Calvin Kattar, and I was wrong. With that said, what I can't accept is when one judge gives the other fighter the most obvious round of the fight, which was round 4. And it was Sal D'Amato. No, it was Chris Lee, I believe. It was Chris Lee. Gave Emmett round 4. Now, if he would have gave that round to Kattar, we would have been having a different conversation today. But he gave the most obvious round to Emmett, and that's where I have the problem. I don't have a problem with the result, because if I'm sitting at the edge of my couch, or I'm in my office, or I'm wherever I'm watching a fight, and I'm nervous, that tells me that you're not certain, Mike. You don't know for a fact if this fight it went your way, and that's the way I felt. I felt that Kattar did enough to win, but I wouldn't have argued if Emmett won, and Emmett won. But I do have a problem with that judge. I always had a problem with him. There was a reason why Israel Adesanya called him off his fight when he fought Vettori for the second time. He asked for him to be removed off the card. You know, it's guys like that. It's guys like Sal D'Amato. It's these guys who continuously make these fucking mistakes, and the commission will keep them on. There has to be some kind of ownership. Is that the right word I'm looking for?
Accountability. Yeah.
Accountability. It's got to be some kind of right accountability. Forget about fucking robot judging. Forget about all this other fucking bullshit. Get that out of your head. It's never going to happen. I don't give a fuck that the PFL does this. I don't give a fuck what other people do. The UFC will never, ever have robot judging. It's not going to happen. So people chiming about that the boxing has had CompuBox for, it's called CompuBox. Boxing has had CompuBox for years. They still will never go to CompuBox. They will never go to, they go to the CompuBox numbers, they show you the numbers, but numbers will never tell you the story of the fight. In certain cases, they will. In certain cases, the CompuBox scoring will tell you the tale, because it followed the path of the numbers. But you cannot trust a computer to fucking tell you which significant strikes were harder. You cannot tell you certain things in a fight. You can't. The demeanor, who's backing who up, who's got control. You can't. You just can't. So get that out of your head. It's never going to happen. If they do anything, they may do a combination of both, where you can appeal it and they go to this, but they'll never have robot judging, because it would never work.
It
just would never work. It just would never work.
No context.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with like the robots, like those little remember the soccer robots?
Yeah.
Like you're dealing with that. That's a different fucking story.
Somebody's head gets knocked off.
You're dealing with two human beings in a ring, in a ring in a cage, where there's emotions involved. There's nuances that you have to watch. There's so many elements that a computer just can't see. The only thing computer is tallying fucking numbers for you. That's all it's doing. And does that tell a tale? Of course it tells a tale. And can that tale be the tale that we see sometimes? 1,000%. But that tale is never going to tell the fucking full story of a fight. So guys, get that out of your head, because it's never going to fucking happen. But my problem with this is, when do they get a clean look? When do they get a clean look? When do they finally say, look, maybe it's time we bring some new blood in. Maybe it's time for you to go. Like, maybe it's time. It's almost like old people with a license. Like, I really believe that once you hit a certain age, you need to retest again. Really?
No, that's for safety precautions. I get
you. You know what I mean? I really do believe that. I mean, I hate when I'm driving in my car or my truck and I see fucking someone in front of me driving 20 fucking miles an hour, and I'm screaming at them and honking my horn, and then I realize I don't see their head. It looks like there's no one driving a car. And it reminds me, okay, it's probably this little old fucking person. I feel like shit now. I pull inside of him, and sure enough, what is it? It's an old person with his fucking head rammed into the fucking steering wheel. He's so close. And he's driving, he's driving like this. And I feel terrible. But at the end of the day, once you hit a certain age, you need to retest.
You need a chauffeur or something. Get a
Well,
lift.
just retest.
No.
Show me that you could drive the course.
So get your niece out here to drive your.
You know, and it's the same thing with judging. It's like, when does it come where the accountability, like a ref, like look what happened with Mazzagatti. You know, Steve Mazzagatti. Dana White hated Steve Mazzagatti. That dude no longer refs anymore because at a certain point in time, he had to take accountability for his fucking actions. When is Adelaide Bird? When is Sal D'Amato? When is Chris Lee? When are these same offenders going to take accountability for what they've done in so many fights that the casual fan can fucking see what's been going on and bring in some fucking new blood? I'm not saying get rid of them and saying you're gone, but bring in some fucking new blood and work them in. Work them into the commission. I mean, it's getting to the point now. Like I look at these jobs, I'm like, here we go. Sal D'Amato's on the card, or Chris Lee's on the card, or fucking Adelaide Bird's on the card. Here we go. We're gonna have a fucking shuffle here. Get rid of them. Like, get new blood and get rid of them. That's the way this is gonna be fixed. Because when you bring people in that are all on the same page, it's almost like you can't teach a new dog, an old dog, new tricks. When you're that ingrained, in boxing, and because they're coming over from boxing. Like that's why people who tweet Dana White and are like, Dana White, do something about this. He has no say in this. This is the commission, So when does the point in time come where, they put their foot down and they say, look, we need some new blood. We got to bring fresh blood in here, and we got to get everybody on the same page. This is how we score. This is what we do. This is how it's going to be. There's no such thing as you like grappling more, so you're going to score it your way. You like striking more, you're going to score it your way. You think this is a significant strike, but you don't. Like, you all got to be on the fucking same page, or else we're going to consistently have these cards. People think when you say split decision, that's a good thing. That's not a good thing. That means one judge had it all the way this way, and one judge had it all the way this way. That's what it means. It was a close fight, but somebody got it wrong. So it's got to be fixed. Anyway, it was a great card. I had an amazing time watching it. I did tell my subscribers, and I'm always transparent with you guys. I'm never going to just spend your money. I've been in this game way too fucking long. And I'm not talking from a DFS standpoint. I'm talking from just a standpoint of being involved in combat sports for a very long time, that I know what a fight is a fight and a fight. And at the end of the day, sometimes all that glitters isn't gold. So I told everybody, back up. Don't go crazy on your bankroll. This is going to be a volatile card. Sure enough, it was. They listened. We still came out in the profit, but we're looking to make more profit next week. I think that's it with that.
Before you get to this week, I just saw Canelo Triple G3.
Yeah,
announced.
We're gonna do a major breakdown for that.
Yeah.
The only problem is that fight should have happened already. That fight should have happened already. That's my only gripe with that.
Yeah.
Because did you see that when they fought?
I think I saw the first one.
Canelo Triple G got robbed in one of those.
Yeah.
And now he's another year. I mean, he looked great in his last fight. Don't get me wrong, but and then you got to wonder, how's the line going to look? Because Canelo fights a guy. It's shown an L on his record, but at the end of the day, he did fight somebody who is out of his weight class. And then you got Triple G, who looked good but is older. So where's the line going to be sitting on that? Let me actually see if they're. Let me see.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, find it for me. Tell me what the line is. But we're going to do a major breakdown for Canelo and Triple G. Major. A lot of other people aren't doing that because they don't watch boxing. But me and Anthony, that's how we met 20-something years ago through boxing. So we're going to do a major breakdown on that fight. Looking forward to that. We got a lot of boxing coming up, too. So we also do boxing bias. It's just not MMA. We're going to break down this card now. UFC Fight Night 212. And, for the people that are, the casuals that are kind of just into and just cut me off anytime, Quan, when you get that line. When you're looking at this main event, a lot of people, unless you're really entrenched in MMA, you're not going to know who these guys are. But I can assure you that these guys are two very high pedigree, very talented fighters. When I initially saw this fight, usually when I see a fight right out of the gate, I tend to lean one way, or I'm really confused a little bit on which way I'm going to go. I start thinking about it when I'm driving. I start thinking about it when I'm training, when I'm in the gym, or I kind of prime my mind to see where I'm going just from the information that I know, that I have right now of these guys before I jump in. And I was very confused. Like, I was like, wow, which way am I going to go on this one? Because there's a lot of narratives that can be played out here, you know. And after I did all of my film work and my thinking and my writing notes, and I have a dictator that I actually, when I'm watching film, I'll dictate to myself. Even after all that, I was confused. And I think this is going to be a really, 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 really tough fight for both guys. You got it?
I see minus 450 Canelo.
What? Minus 450?
Yeah.
That's insanity, dude. I got to look into that a little more. We're going to have a big breakdown for that. That's insulting. But then, you know, Triple G's older. He might have missed the window. So when I was really looking into this card, looking into this fight in general, I should say, you know, I really, really had to watch them very closely. I had to like really follow all their nuances. And one thing with Gamrot that I noticed is that he's a very patterned fighter, where Tsarukyan Armin is very goes with the flow. He's very fluid. As the fight comes to him is how he dictates the pace, the pressure, the style, everything he does. Where Gamrot likes to have the control. He likes to dictate what's going on. But as he's doing that, he kind of runs the same pattern. And that can work in Armin's favor. And the patterns I see with him is, if you look at Gamrot, now this is a guy who he dropped a fight to Khalidze, the guy who just fought last week. And it was a good fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a good fight. But I did notice things in that fight that I did not like. And the thing with him is, you know, when he takes his entries, you know, they're very, very, not telegraphed, but they're very predictable. He's very one-sided dominant with his striking. And even though he does switch it up and he will throw the other hand, he is dominant. And when you strike and you box and you understand like what's going on, it's very easy for you to tell if somebody is one hand dominant. It's almost like a basketball player that can dribble righty but can't dribble lefty. You could see that he's got that one dominant hand that he loves, and he's really not comfortable holding that hand. For instance, there was a couple times where this is one shot that he does like to take. He will stand up and he will throw, and then he will slip under and come up this way instead of using his other hand. Now, that is good to do because people are expecting you to come the other way. But after he does that, then he'll shoot on the level. And when he shoots on his level, now you got to understand that a fighter, you have to protect two levels when you're dealing with someone like Gamrot, or dealing with a wrestler, or dealing with a grappler. You're just not standing up here and you're not guarding your body. You're not slipping and ripping. You got to defend your legs. What does that do in turn? It stops you from letting go of your hands, because you got to keep a certain amount of range. You can't just let leather fly, because if you let too much fly, you load up and you just start opening them up. You start opening up and turning your punches over. They're going to change levels. The thing that is dangerous with Gamrot is when he changed levels, he really fucking changed levels. He goes right down, way past the knee. I mean, this guy's going for ankle picks and stuff like that. So he goes really, really, really deep. The problem with that is when he does that, he exposes his head. Majority of the time, he's coming on an angle. He's coming off the center line. But there were times in a lot of his film where I see that when he does take his shot, and he always does it, he'll parry, he'll come under off the center line, he'll rip, he'll go under, and he exposes all here. Now, if you're getting someone like an Adrian Yanez, I'm not saying like I'm throwing names out there, guys who really know timing, they're going to come up with something. They're going to stab you when you're coming in, you know, and sting you, and that can be an issue for him. But what he does do good is when he does finally get in on you, he's got a great series of a multitude of trips, and he's very good with shift differential. And what I mean by that is he will use the momentum of your body weight to take you down. And that is something that he's good. The thing that I don't like about him on the flip side is you know, people look at it from a DraftKings perspective, right? And they're like, wow, look, Gamrot. Gamrot's fucking got 5 takedowns, 4 takedowns, 6 takedowns, 3 takedowns. And that all looks good on the numbers, right? It looks great on the numbers. But at the end of the day is the reason why he's accumulating all these takedowns is because he's not holding the fighter in position. He's not holding his opposition in position. He doesn't have that that weight distribution that's able to hold him down for long periods of time. And that can be a problem. You know, that could be a problem for someone like Arman, who is well-balanced and well-rounded everywhere. And he is. He's very well-balanced. Now, I don't agree with this line. The line here is minus 285. The comeback on Gamrot is plus 240. I think that's fucking lunacy. On DraftKings, 9,100 and 7,100. I think that's lunacy, too. I think this fight is very, very close. But I think those little things that I just described, how he kind of runs the same pattern all the time. He's got that same shot. I mean, if he's not going on the center line, he's just coming kilter right, kilter left. You know what I mean? It's very, very readable what he does. And by him being a little bit more, you know, love dominant on one side of his striking, that doesn't give you a lot it makes you focal point more to that than opposed to all these different avenues where he could be coming. And then you got a guy in Arman who's a very good wrestler. And he can get takedowns of his own. And he's a very good striker. And he's very cerebral in his approach. This is a guy who fought Islam Makhachev, who in his debut, and literally lost the fight, but there were spots in that fight that were bright, shining spots for him. He put Islam in some situations that I haven't seen Islam in since he's been in the UFC. So, you know, the kid's a talented fighter, but at the end of the day, was it a really good showing? Has he had a really good fucking showing? Did Gamrot just have a really bad showing in his last loss, and now he's won 3 in a row? Like, we don't know. These guys are both super fucking technical. And to say minus 185 to Arman is crazy to me. I think this is a lot closer. I am picking Arman to win the fight, though. I'm going to pick Arman by decision. I just think he's going to be a little bit more technical. I think he's going to be able to capitalize once he starts reading the nuances and reading that similar pattern that I talked about, that one-hand dominance, that the real low shot that he takes. And I think there's going to be situations where, you know, he's not going to get those clean looks that he expects. That's going to allow Arman to possibly counter, turn things around, maybe put him up against the cage and get his own takedown. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very, very good fight. I would not run to the window and dump money on Arman at 285. If you are a Gamrot fan and you do support Gamrot and you want him to win this fight, I don't have a problem with you if you wanted to take a small stab at plus 240. I think there's a little bit of value on Gamrot there. I'm just not going to do it because I don't think he's going to win the fight. I think this kid's the real deal. I think Arman's the real deal. I think he's been showing that. Not that Gamrot's not, but like I said, I just think he's a little bit more fluid in his approach, transitioning from striking to grappling, and how the fight approaches him. He lets the fight approach him where Gamrot kind of pushes against the grain, trying to create things that he wants to create. So I'm going to go Arman. I'm going to go Arman by decision. Next fight, you got Neil Magny versus RAKHMONOV. Very twisted on this fight. I'm very fucking twisted on this fight. Oh, let's go real quick, DraftKings. So from a DraftKings perspective, it's a 5-round fight. I think it's going to be a high active fight. And I think Tsarukyan can cover, 9-100 in a fight like that. Transitions, takedowns, high octane on both ends. Both of these guys are going to look to bring it. Usually when you get two really technical guys, it could be a chess match on the ground. There could be a boatload of submissions, reversals, and stuff like that. So I'm looking for these guys to score. Gamrot, obviously, to me, holds a little bit more value at 7,100 in a 5-round fight because he's super talented too. But like I said, whoever you decide to choose on this, I think should be fine, and I think Arman should cover that if they, even if they do go to the cards. So now we go back to Neil Magny and RAKHMONOV. This is a really twisty fight for me, man. Really, really twisty fight for me because there's so much about me that loves Neil Magny, and then there's so much about me that just I can't trust him anymore. This is a guy who's got such good conditioning, a guy who's got such good wrestling, a guy who's so smart in the cage when things are going his way, but then he has these spots where he just looks fucking terrible. I mean, his last fight, Max Griffin, he beat Jeff Neal, he beat Michael Chiesa, he looked like total fucking garbage. I mean, he really did. He looked like, I mean, Chiesa was beating him from fucking pillar to post, taking him down at will. And that was a spot where I thought Neil Magny would be able to kind of capitalize on a tired Chiesa as the fight went on. Magny was able to use his conditioning and start really turning the tables, and he just didn't. And I feel like Neil Magny's the type of guy who, when he starts getting going, it's hard to stop him. But in order to get him going from a deficit, that's where he has his problems. When he falls into a deficit a little bit early, it's almost like Magny has trouble catching up with himself, where he gets into a positive in the first round. He has a problem. You have a problem catching up with him, and he's always fought that way. So it's very important for him. I mean, before that, Robbie Lawler, Anthony Rocco Martin, the Leech. You know, he's beaten some really, really, really good guys, and he does it with his cardio. He does it with his pace. He does it with his wrestling. He does it with a little bit of everything. He's a long fighter. He's a rangy fighter. He's a lanky fighter. The guy's really good, but can you trust him? He's going up against a fucking kid, seems to be like a little killer, dude. 15-0, 8 knockouts, 7 submissions. So none of his fights have ever been to the cards. Obviously, he's never lost. But he hasn't really fought anybody fantastic. You know, he really hasn't fought anybody great. He beat Carlton Harris. Carlton Harris is a good fighter, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He beat Michel Pieta, the truck. Good, but he was probably, I think, in his 40s at that point in time. Very small for the division. Alex Oliveira, okay. You know, he's good. Guillotine choked him. That's fine. But he's never really fought anybody outside of that. Jung Young Park back in 2016. You know, it's one of those situations where you look at him and you're like, all right, he's 15-0. He's got to lose a fight eventually. You know, he's got to lose a fight eventually. And I don't know, man. This is a fight where, shit, man. This is a fight where I really could see Magny winning. And then I could see Magny getting rolled. I don't think that this fight should be minus 390 in any way, shape, or form. That I will tell you. I don't see that this fight should be minus 390. But I don't know, man. It's like, it's such a tough spot to pick here because Max Griffin, Neil Magny. Let me see something real quick before I make this. Here's the thing, guys. When you look at his resume, first round, second round, first round, second round, first round, he's only been into the third round one time in 15 fights. You know, and that's a tribute to him, right? I mean, he's finishing his guys, but we haven't seen him in these deep waters, man. You know, and not that it's a 5-round fight, but you're looking at a guy in Magny who puts a fucking pace on you. You got to keep up with him. You know, and not many guys can keep up with him. I'm gonna take a flyer here. This is subjected to change because obviously I want to see the weigh-ins. But I'm gonna take a flyer here, and I'm gonna fucking say Neil Magny gets this done by decision. Plus 320.
What's taking a flyer, man?
Taking a flyer, like I'm just gonna take a swing and take the dog here.
Learning new things. There
you know, this is subject to change. I got to see the weigh-ins. That's very important to me. But from what I'm absorbing from this, from, like I said, the level of competition, I'm going to take a flyer right now, and I'm going to say tentatively right now, I'm going to go with Neil Magny. If weigh-ins look good and he looks good and everybody looks good in weigh-ins, then you guys know I kind of stuck with it. But if he's fucking sucked out or somebody, you know, something happens during that time, then it's subject to change. But right now, you know what? I'll take experience here. I'll take the experience here, and I'll say Neil Magny by decision. Next fight, Bordeaux, Parisian. I have really no interest in this fight. Both of these guys are super, super lackluster. Both of these guys are really, really sloppy in their approach. There's nothing really technical behind them. They're just kind of bruisers and brawlers. So this is kind of a pick-your-poison fight, right? When you look at Parisian, yeah, he's a tough dude. I mean, he's shown heart in a lot of his fight. I would say Bordeaux is, you know, a little bit more technical, a little bit more savvy inside the cage. But at the end of the day, these guys are fucking brawlers. These guys are just going in to to trade. It's really and the line indicates such, right? I mean, minus 115, minus 105 for Parisian. It's basically a pick 'em, so it's pick your poison. I'm gonna lean Bordeaux slightly, but I'm not gonna have any action here, and I highly suggest you don't either. If you're finding props maybe for an inside the distance prop or something like that because it's the big boys, I get it, but I'm never going to tell you guys to bet these crazy fucking these fights. It's your money. This is your money, and your money means a lot to me because I know how hard it is to make a dollar. I'm never going to lie to you about my plays. I know a lot of guys will go out there and they'll say they're betting 5-10 units on a play. I can almost guarantee you they're not. When they come out and they say, I won 50 units tonight, I had 10 units on this and 5. I can almost guarantee you that they're not putting that in. They're maybe doing 1 unit, 2 units. Everything that you see on my site, the very biggest unit you'll see is 2 units. I go 1 unit on the huge parlays, the snap, blah, 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 like straight bets. I did two 2-unit straight bets this week, and that's like me being confident. Like, I'm confident if I'm throwing 2 units in. Everybody's unit shares are different, though. You got to remember that. Your unit share can be $10. My unit share can be $1,000. Bush's can be $10,000. Like, everybody's unit share is completely different. So if somebody says, max 5-unit bet, that could be $50, technically. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We don't unit shame here.
What's that?
We don't unit shame.
Right, no, we don't unit shame here, dude. There's no such thing as unit shaming, but it's the people that come out and they try to cushion their stats by their unit because your philosophy in your mind tells you what? Automatically that a unit is $100, right? That's really what the mind tells you. Where that's not the case. There's no such thing as a set unit. The unit is what you set it at. If you're a smart player and you keep track of yourself and you keep documentation, you know what your unit is. My unit is this. My unit is this. I know people that are a unit for them is $10. I know people that a unit for them is $1,000. So when they say I'm betting 5-10 units, you have no idea what kind of units they're talking about. They could be talking about 100. They could be talking about a $10 meaning a unit, so they technically only bet $10. I mean $50. So don't get sucked into that whole unit thing. It's about longevity because you can go up 40 fucking units in one night if you're playing like that, and then you go down 50 units the next night, and you can go like this. This is the way your life of wagering will go. And if that's the way you like to live your life, that's your prerogative. I personally don't like living my life that way. I like living consistently, and I like running the marathon. I've been doing this for a decade, and I haven't had a losing season in MMA. In that time. I'm hitting at a 70% clip, and I could be up totally 500, 600, 700 units easy. But I don't play like that. I play with 1 and 2 unit shares, sometimes even a half a unit if I'm doing like a major suicide parlay or something. So just bet smart, play smart, don't get baited into that whole fucking max unit game. It's a losing man's game. So yeah, for this fight, I'm gonna go light on Bordeaux. I just think he's a little bit better, even though they both suck. But don't bet this fight, guys. Next fight, Christos Giagos versus Thiago Moises. I think this fight. Actually, let me go back. I keep forgetting to do this. So if you look at Bordeaux and Parisian, 8,400, 7,800. I have no problems with that. I got no problems with that price. I got no problems with that. I think that's about right. I think there's value on both guys. Being the big guys, they can get it done. They can finish it inside the distance. Someone gets a finish inside the distance, then you'll be sitting nice. But like I said, sloppy fight. I would not sit here and lean on these guys like they're going to be the is all to end all. And I want to go back a step to RAKHMONOV and Neil Magny. $6,900 punt play on Magny. Whether you think he's going to win or lose, the dude is the more versatile, the more seasoned, and the veteran fighter in there. 6,900, you should not be fading him. Whether you think he's going to win or whether you think he's going to lose, 6,900 is a punt play for a very seasoned fighter. Where you got to remember, when these guys win fights in big spots, everybody's all over him. Fucking Neil Magny 2.0, Neil Magny. And then all of a sudden they lose, and Neil Magny's a fucking bum again. You notice that? All the time. So he's still fucking Neil Magny. I mean, you got to get the right Neil Magny to show up. But Neil Magny at 6,900, it's hard to pass up whether you think he's going to win or lose. RAKHMONOV at 9,300, I don't know about that. I think that's a little expensive. I got to be honest with you. I think it's a little bit expensive. If I target this fight, where I target this fight, I'll be targeting MAGNY more and laying off RAKHMONOV more, because I know the masses are going to be jumping on RAKHMONOV because the whole narrative on RAKHMONOV, and they're going to be sleeping on MAGNY, and I like to go the other way. Mind you, guys, I do want to tell you guys, just because I don't engage with a lot of people on Twitter, like a lot of the other touts and a lot of the other analysts, doesn't mean I'm shitting on anybody. Doesn't mean I don't like them. There's a lot of guys out there that I like. There's a lot of guys in the industry that will DM each other once in a while, back and forth. It doesn't mean I don't. I just prefer to work alone. I prefer to work with Anthony and Quan, because I don't like to be swayed. I trust in my knowledge. I trust in my picks, and I feel like a lot of times when people are picking fighters, and people, they kind of, I kind of know who's going to be popular, because all I got to do is take a peek at, Twitter, and you see like one or two people are on Marquez for example. I know for a fact that group is going to be like, oh, Marquez. And I sit there and I say, okay, well, this is a situation where I can jump in and I could fucking yank the other way and it'll work out in my favor. I don't like to be swayed. Doesn't mean I don't have respect for anybody else. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't sit down and chum and have a beer with them or go to a fight with them. Doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that I trust my process and I don't like to be swayed. I don't like to sit down and have somebody else tell me, well, yeah, Lab, I love what you're saying, but this is why you're going to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I listen to my subscribers all the time tell me that I'm wrong. But it doesn't mean I don't respect a person or respect a tout or respect an analyst. I just choose to not listen to anybody. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't read articles. I'm not a member of a site. I don't get involved with that. Just for the mere fact that I like my own eyes. I like my own brain. I trust myself more than anybody. And I think a lot of players should realize that, like, it's about, not being swayed. It's almost like me and Quan going cliff dive and I make him go first because I don't trust myself. You know what I mean? That's not the way I play. I go first all the time. I'm the one who's always going to go first. So don't get it twisted, because I had a couple people actually message me, how come I don't do shows? How come I don't do this? It's not that I don't want to, and it's not that I think less of anybody. It's just a mere fact that I've been doing this for 10 years like this. I never even worked with anybody. When I was at the other company, it was just me. And then when I left that company, they needed like 4 guys to do my job. They were bringing fucking guys in who's quitting. I've always been able to handle it all on my own. Now that I got Anthony with me, it's different because we know each other for so long. And I know where his mind is, and he knows where my mind is. So it's a match made in heaven for us. But it's not an indictment on anybody. So guys, get that out of your mind. I respect everybody. Next fight is GIAGOS and MOISES. This is going to be a fight that I think is going to be good until it lasts. You know what I mean?
I get
You get what I say by that?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be good until it lasts. GIAGOS comes out hot out of the fucking gate. I like GIAGOS. When he was coming in, I really liked him. I like his moxie. I like the way he approaches fights. When you look at the line on this fight, though, you have MOISES is minus 240. I think it's a little high. I think they got the right guy, but I do think that's a little high. When you look at DraftKings, you have GIAGOS at 7,200, and you have MOISES at 9,000. I think that's... Excuse me, I think that's a little high too. When you look at MOISES, he's the better fighter, right? He's definitely the better fighter. He's dropped 2 straight. He dropped a tough one to obviously Islam Makhachev, who fucking, subbed him in round 4. Alvarez knocked him out in round 1, so he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Very important fight for him here to get back on track. Well, when you look at GIAGOS, this is a guy who kind of comes out of the gate super, super hot. He's got wrestling. The problem with GIAGOS is his gas. He does tend to gas out. He lost to Tsarukyan. He got knocked out in round 1. His last fight, he beat Tsarukyan by submission. Beat MANESS, lost to Drakkar Klose, beat Hadzovic. So he's got some good names on his resume, and he's a tough kid. GIAGOS is a tough kid. He's a good athlete. He's got good wrestling. He's got power in his hands. The biggest indictment on him is his conditioning. His conditioning is going to be the death of him if he doesn't figure it out. It's looked better in small sample sizes, but it's still not enough for me. You get a guy like MOISES who is, for my money, he's the better grappler. He's more technical. He's got good power. When he's on, he's on. And when you get a guy like that, where you're going to have, I could see GIAGOS winning maybe round one, putting it on him a little bit, not really phasing MOISES, just being a more active guy. And as he gets tired, MOISES is just kind of running away with it and possibly even finishing the third. So I'm going to go MOISES here. And I'm going to go... I think MOISES gets it done inside the distance, I'm going to say. I don't like the price I don't like the price at all on the line, and I don't like the price in DraftKings. I think GIAGOS holds value in DraftKings. And as far as the line, to me, it's a stay away. But, yeah, I do like MOISES here. I think he gets it done. I think he gets it done late inside the distance. And that's why I mean it's going to be fun until it lasts. The last fight in the card is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Nate MANESS. Now, listen, anytime you get a fighter that's minus 800, is that what he is right now? Let me check. Minus 900. Some boards he's minus 1,000. So DraftKings, he's got to be sitting at 9,600, 9,500. Nate MANESS is 6,700. Listen, guys, I'm going to let you know this right now. I'm going to come out right at the game and tell you I'm picking Nurmagomedov to win this fight. But Nate MANESS is no fucking pushover. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He beat Munoz. He beat Sanders. He beat Gravely. Like, he's a tough fucking kid, dude. He's a tough kid. This is not a walk in the park for Nurmagomedov. The thing with Nurmagomedov is he's not only the kid's got very good grappling, but he's also a very good striker. Like, he's got good striking. He's very well rounded. He is like a mini Khabib. I mean, he really, really is. Who knows what this kid's ceiling is? But he's got 2 wins in UFC. He beat Morozov and beat Kelleher, both of them by submission. But these guys aren't Nate MANESS. Like, Nate MANESS is a really, really tough dude. If he goes in there and he walks Nate MANESS in this fight, I'll be like really impressed. Like, then I'll be kind of confused on what this kid's ceiling actually is. Not that Nate MANESS is some top 10 guy, but he's fucking tough. Like, he's very, very, very tough. He's got good striking. He's got good grappling. He's very slick. He's got a very strange approach to him. He's kind of a little bit of a puzzle, and if Nurmagomedov can come in here and roll him like that, then we got a big fucking problem on our hands, dude. Like, this kid's going to be a big I already think he's going to be a problem. But if he comes in and does a first-round Kelleher, what he did to Kelleher in round 1, to Nate MANESS, then we got to fucking...
Minus 900 is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this right now, guys, that I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm going to tell you, don't even consider a minus 900.
Yeah.
It's guys. At the end of the day, it's fighting. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck if you do these big long parlays. If you have a 10-fight parlay and you're throwing it, how much is that really going to move your ticket?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just doing that to throw a name in there. At that point, I would stay away from it. Like, this is a fight you stay away from. If you want to get a little interesting with the DraftKings, yeah, because the kid's got upside to finish the fucking fight in the first round if he is, but I don't know. Nate MANESS at fucking 6,700. I could see where it's tempting. Super, super, super punt play. But if Nurmagomedov starts getting his grappling going, where's the offensive prowess going to come from Nate MANESS? Where is he going to gather points? You think he's going to be able to transition out? You think he's going to be able to reverse, get top control, stay on his feet? I don't know, man. I don't know. At the end of the day, it is a fight. So, if he ends up winning this fight, you can guarantee he's going to be on the top ticket. But I just think Nurmagomedov's going to be way too much for him. Way too much for him. But as far as the gambling end of it, I wouldn't even put him in a parlay. If you want to look at inside the distance for him, the Nurmagomedov by TK was plus 500. What's Nurmagomedov decision? Okay, so if you got Nurmagomedov by submission at plus 100 on a couple boards, I could see you wanting to take a swing on that. Or you want to go Nurmagomedov. Where's decision? Not decision, just inside the distance. Well, maybe even decision. Fight goes to decision is plus 150. There's other ways you could play this, is what I'm saying. Just stay away from the fucking straight line. And, you know, I know it seems tempting, plus 625 for Nate Maness, but just stay away from both sides, because I don't think Nate Maness wins this fight, and I don't think there's any value on the Magomedov at minus 900, even in a fucking parlay. But I'm going to tell you right now, there are going to be props on the board that are going to be tempting that I will be pulling the trigger on my site. The rest of the cards are good. I got some really good leans on the prelims. I got some real good intel on Chris Curtis and Rodolfo Vieira. I really liked the TJ Brown fight. The Mirazov Paiva fight, that's going to be great. Dern and JP Buys, another great fight. Kelleher and Batista, another great fight. Jinyu Fry versus Demopoulos, another good fight. Like, very, very, very good fights on this card. Very fun fight. We also got PFL on the day before, Bellator on the day before. So the bet pack is going to be stacked over at the MadLab.com. Definitely come down and check us out. We run contests all the time. We do swag. Last week we did a contest where we gave away a 1-year subscription, a 3-month subscription, and swag. We're going to do another swag contest this week. What we're going to do now is we're going to do something that we like to call
Dog pick of the week.
Coach.
Oh. Coach's Couch's Corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, guys, we're going to run this a little bit different this time. And this is how we're going to do this going further. Basically, what Coach Couch's Corner is, is I go through Twitter, go through Instagram, and I try to find people coaching a fighter or shit-talking a fighter or whatever the hell the case is, and we're going to put it on here. There's nothing worse that bothers me more than some of these people. Like, these guys just lost a fucking fight, and you're trying to dictate to them from the couch on what these guys should be doing.
I wouldn't beat up.
You know what I mean? So, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make it enticing for you guys. I don't got the time to really go through Twitter or go through Instagram and just search things out. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys, okay? And what I'm going to ask you guys to do, and there's going to be prizes involved. So the prize, this is how we're going to work it. I want you guys to go onto Twitter. You don't have to, like, search. I mean, if you run into it, tag me in it. Some of the coldest takes that you can find, whether it's somebody shit-talking a fighter, whether it's somebody coaching a fighter, whether it's just a super, super cold take on a ref or a judge, you're going to tag me in it. We're going to choose a couple of them from the best ones. The people that I choose, you're going to get swag. Okay, so the rules is you got to follow us here on YouTube. You have to subscribe, here on YouTube. You got to subscribe. You obviously follow me and Anthony at on Twitter, and Quan as well. You got to follow Quan. You got to follow the three of us, and you have to tag me, obviously, in the thing. Once we go through that, we see that you followed all of us. We see you subscribe to our YouTube. We will pick the best ones. We will announce them on the show, obviously, because we're going to read them, and we will contact you, and we will give you swag. So that's what we're going to do going further. Good idea?
I think it's a great idea, man.
It's a great idea.
Get a little laugh in before
Yeah,
the
get
show.
a little laugh in.
Yeah.
We'll if you don't want us to announce you were the one who tagged me in the tweet, we won't do it. If you want a little exposure, we'll say coming from so-and-so. So I dug up a couple, not so much coaching, but just one of them really pissed me off, to be honest with you. And it was something that happened with Julian Marquez. It comes from a guy named Tyler_Ward13 on Twitter. And this guy just lost his fight. And I don't know if you guys ever been in a locker room when a fight is over, when a fighter loses. It's it's not a very happy scene. These guys train their asses off. And they don't need you fucking guys, not you guys, I'm just saying in general, coming in to their Twitters and coming into their instant messengers and stuff and bashing them. So basically with this fucking kid, Tyler_Ward13, I'm saying your fucking name because I think you're a jerk off enough to announce it twice. He replied to a story that Marquez put on his page that said, "I'm good." And here's what he said. "Wake up, sleepyhead, you bum. You just got pieced to the shadow realm. You're dead. Nah, you're not good. You're fucking dog shit. You sold the lay so hard. Go to hell, you fucking bum." That's what he DMs him. Okay, it's not over there. It's not over there. Then he comes back. It's okay. Then what happened is Marquez posted it on his Twitter. Now, people start attacking this kid.
Yeah.
So this is what he messages him back. Now he's asking for forgiveness. It's not even like that. All from my end. I shared my opinion on your performance without mentioning any threats, and definitely not your family. So then Marquez goes, I'm not sending anything rude, negative, or hateful to you. I'm just sharing what you've been saying to me, to the world. It's not my fault random people are giving your unwanted opinion on my remarks. He goes, they aren't giving an opinion. They are threatening me and my family. And what I've sent today is an apology. So if you want something post, you can post that. Please. I regret what I have said too, and I'm dealing with my family being sent threats. So please understand that and just stop posting about me. I'm asking nicely. Fuck yourself.
That backpedal was swift.
Fuck yourself. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You have no idea what these guys go through on a weekly basis, from leaving their kids, leaving their family, training their ass off, fighting through fucking injuries, cutting weight, the mental preparation, the physical preparation. To have a punk like you go into his DMs and do that, get the fuck out of here. You know what? Good on Julian Marquez for actually going back on Twitter and saying, please leave him alone. He obviously didn't mean it. He did. He said that. Because
he's lucky.
That's a good dude in Julian Marquez.
That's a real,
and Julian, I'm sorry I picked against you this week, but you're a good dude because you're better than me. So, Tyler, you're considered my asshole of the week. Next one was... this one was with the Court McGee. This one really wasn't that bad, to be honest with you, but it just didn't make sense. He's telling Court McGee to go up in the weight class. Now, the guy just got fucking knocked out to the shadow realm, right? And after the fight, he tells him to go up in the weight class, meaning not up in weight. He wants him to fight a higher-ranked opponent next time. That's what he says. You have a victory over Robert Whittaker. That would be a good build-up for middleweight bouts. You should have done that when he was champ. He is still number one, ranked at 185. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. That's
he
it.
fucking fought him in 2013. Bro, 9 years ago they fought. The hell are you talking about? It was a decade ago. And he just got knocked out by Wells. You want him to fight Robert Whittaker?
Never too late, man.
I mean, these fucking people, dude. So that was another one. This was one that I wanted to fucking... this kid... this one was about... These last two were boxing. This was from the Joey Smith Jr. fight. Now, Joey Smith Jr. got waxed in his fight. He got knocked down 3-4 times. In 2 rounds, they stopped the fight. Feel bad for him, but it was his own fault. He honestly just didn't stick to what he does. I really thought, like I said, he would come in boxing, stop. You know, you're not going to meet this other kid with power. He tried to do that. So everybody, one thing about the boxing community, it's a lot different than the MMA community. The MMA community is quick to jump out and lash out at you. Where the boxing community, honestly, I hate to say it, they're a little bit more mature. They're a little bit more older. And if you're a boxing fan, you've been a boxing fan for a long time. You're just not a new boxing fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where in MMA, a lot of these guys, and it's not a bad thing, but a lot of these guys have come in during the McGregor era. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're coming in the McGregor era, you're still kind of new. You're still new. Yeah. You know, so a lot of the boxing heads have been boxing fans since they were years. You're just not coming into boxing now and saying, oh, you know, I like boxing. Where MMA is a little bit different, but there's always that 1 or 2 people in the box. Like, they were all praising him, you know, don't worry about it, champ, this and that. They were much more nice and accepting. This guy, listen to this. He tries to be nice, but look what he throws in there. Still my favorite boxer, but I lost a $250. Yo. Yo,
I just got smoked on national TV.
Listen, he just got smoked and embarrassed.
Yeah.
In New York. Listen, still my favorite boxer. Lost $250 bet I had on you getting decision and $150 on you getting the KO. Would have helped pay off my credit card.
Yo, you gotta block him immediately.
Proud of you, though.
Yo, thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Proud of you, though, and can't wait to see you feeling well and back in there. Don't give up. It was your equilibrium, like you said, and I saw that and I saw that happen, and I support you 100%. Like, how do you go from that to fucking telling the guy that you lost $400 and could have paid off your credit card? Who gives a fuck about your $400? This guy just got embarrassed on national TV. Think he gives a fuck about your $400?
Hey, big fan. You suck tonight. Try again.
And then this was another one from the fight. It says, you're a powerful puncher. You just need different training. Oh, shit, dude. You're a powerful puncher. You just need different training or on your defense and more aggressive punch. Go, champ. Come back. We will be waiting for strength almighty. So those are the ones I got this week. Believe it or not, I thought there was going to be a fucking ton of... Oh, here's another one. Ready for this? This wasn't even a fight. This one I had to pull off because this is what I mean about the MMA community. Having zero fucking respect, a lot of them. Not a lot of them, because there are a lot of them that are really good. But this is what I mean. Like, you'll never see this in other... Well, maybe you will. This is what this guy had the balls to say to Joe Loizon and Cowboy Cerrone. Two guys that are legends of the game. I hope the UFC dumps both of you two clowns. Enough of this garbage. Time to take out the trash.
That fight didn't even go on, did it?
Yeah. So this is why this guy's name should be called Adelaide Dacre. And he's got a fucking picture of the Padres. This fucking guy. Like, how do you say that to fucking Cowboy Cerrone and Joe Loizon? They've been involved in this game for fucking 2 decades, dude. And you please. So anyway, that's this fucking segment. And this segment's going to get me hot a lot of occasions.
You're really upset right now. You go
because I don't. Because
anytime you bring out the full
Italian, it drives me nuts, bro. It drives me fucking nuts, dude. It drives me nuts. Like, I can't imagine. I don't know how these guys keep their mouths shut. Like me, I would fucking explode, bro. I take it personal. Like if I were to lose, and I would be reading tweets, like hundreds of tweets with people saying like, yo, Lab, good fight, but, I don't understand why you didn't parry the jab more. And I don't know, like, what you fucking get? I'm working with the best trainers in the world.
No, you're not.
And you're going to fucking tell me, you know what I mean?
You're not working with Taylor Ward or the guy who lost $400 on his credit card.
So I don't care who it is, dude. This is up to you guys now. I'm gonna pull some. Bush will pull some. But I want you guys to get involved. I want you guys to find these little things because I can't go through everything. So go through it. Tag me in it, and like I said, we're gonna have a couple of them, but the best one that we pick every week, somebody will get a piece of swag. So let's do that. What else do we got? We have anything else?
We got dog pick of the week.
We got Christine's dog pick of the week. Christine last week was on the wrong side. She had Marquez, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, Christine. No, I was just kidding. All right, so this is her dog pick of the week. Let's bring that up. All right, that's her dog pick of the week. Christine has been on a super hot streak with NBA, and we just closed out the season. She has no idea what to do with herself right now.
I saw that tweet.
Dude, she's so bored out of her mind right now. But
Gear up for football season.
She's gearing up, dude.
Yeah.
Gearing up.
She's a Patriots fan, right?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. She's great, dude. She's great. I've had my eye on her since she was a member, dude. Like, when she first started, she was always that person that, she asked a lot of questions, and she was always listening, and she wanted to learn, dude. And she knew. I'm not saying she knew. She knew a lot already, but I'm just saying, like, little things, like, you could just see she was always involved in the chat, and she was always listening, and always, like, she's very calculated. She's very intelligent, dude.
Yeah.
Very analytical, very, very intelligent, and she's very well thought out. So I love her, man. We love her here. The crew loves her. Discord loves her. She did a fantastic job in NBA. Dude, I put her against majority of the people in NBA DFS, dude. Yeah, I really do.
I saw all the bets.
I mean, there's not many people out there that I would like say, all right, well, Christine, like I'm in a live final.
Yeah.
Do you want to help me out, or what? There's not many people I would. I mean, there's people out there that are super good, but I would totally trust her right next to me, helping me with my NBA lineup. 1,000% in a live final. 1,000%. That's how they think she's that good. Yeah. So we got Thrive. Let's throw up the picks for Thrive. So Thrive last week, I think we went 2 for 3. I got to double check, but we've been smashing Thrive. So definitely get over there. Use MadLab, code MadLab. Get the match bonus over there. All over and unders. You don't got to worry about all this other crazy shit. And we give you every single fight on that card. So I literally, in the live stream, we do a live stream around 2 hours before, and I run down everything for you guys. So definitely check that out. Come over to our site. Give us a shot. It's more content than you can handle. I literally do all day. I mean, you're looking at 15,000 word articles. You're looking at full DFS. You're looking at my hedge weights that I do, projection models. We have Steve Air Force One that does all the fighter metrics from top to bottom for every single fighter, for every single card. He is a major component of this company. I always give him a shout out, Air Force One. He's the enforcer, man. This guy's in Discord all the time. He's always setting up the contest. He's the metrics guy. He's everybody that we have. Quan, another guy, I thank you. The kid's always on point with the editing and best producer out there. If you guys ever need anything produced, can I say this? If you guys ever need anything produced, any kind of videos or anything, reach out to Quan. What's your handle, Quan? I don't know. If
Quantity Media.
Quantified Media.
QWANTITYMEDIA.
Kid's stellar, dude. He just put out a movie that's going to be going into some festivals, so kid's really good. So we have a really great team, and like I said, we're going to build our team, and we're going to build our team from the inside out. So you guys come in, you guys join. That's where we're going to start building the team from inside out. We got football coming up. We are going to assemble a sick football product. I mean, we're going to come right out of the gate hot with it. So be prepared for that. We do NASCAR, obviously NBA we just got done. So we're just going to keep building our brand. We're the only site out there that does boxing. There's no other site out there that does boxing and breaks it down and gives bets when there is something to give. We do Bellator. We do a little bit of everything. So it's a full combat sports site that is expanding now to other sports. So definitely come check us out. But most importantly, like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me if you agree with me, against me. I'll always respond on YouTube. And that's it. Let's get the fuck out of here. Bush, get home. Fucking
Get your ass back here.
What do you got to say? You didn't say nothing.
No, yeah. No more vacationing.
We got to talk. Me and Quan got to talk about a situation in Quan's life, Bush.
Yo, sign off the show, man. We'll see you next week.